What's up guys, Old Sentinel here, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be doing part 1 of the 4449 project build. So technically I have started already by adding a coupler cut lever to the back of the tender. I don't know if you can see it very well, I don't really have good lighting in this room like I've said, but I have added a coupler cut lever to the back of the tender. There is like one more thing I do need to do, and that's probably the light conduit from the light to like up here, but I don't think that might be necessary. But yeah, that might be one more last thing I might take a look into. But other than that, most of the detailing will be on the locomotive itself. Yeah, three things that this locomotive will be, what I will be attempting to do is today. Well, one thing I know I will be able to do is in today's video specifically, mainly, we're going to be mounting a bell underneath the smoke box. There's a bell that I have. Okay, well, I just launched it. There's a bell right here. I don't know if you can see that very well. Look in the viewfinder. Yep. There's a bell right here, and on the real 4449, on the real GS4 of 4449 and 4460, the real locomotives had the bell located underneath the smoke box. It was underneath the smoke box, and it was mounted, I think, like, if I'm correct, I know where it's mounted at. It's mounted like right here, underneath the smoke box. So we're gonna be trying to put that. We're gonna be putting that there, and I do have a reverse gear. Now this might not be necessary because since this is a streamlined engine, you will not see this under normal viewing conditions. However, I want to see if I can at least get it to fit, so that way it's to see if it's just there. But if not, then that's not a big issue. But yeah, so I'm gonna get the locomotive shell taken off so we can put the bell on, attach it. I'm gonna be using some CA glue. This one comes with a brush and a nozzle, but I mostly use the brush so I can get a more like even how do I say that, like more yeah, a better cut, a better placement for the glue, I guess. But I'm gonna get that off. I do need to install a KD knuckle coupler on the front, but other than that, just easy make coupler should hold up pretty well. I never really had the only problems I ever will have with the easement coupler is the springs. The springs come out rather easily, but other than that, the couplers, I've never had a coupler break on me, unless the coupler actually broke by falling off of the table, and with the car falling off the table. But yeah, I never had a coupler actually break on me, like no more than I think like once. That was about it. But that was kind of my fault though, not the coupler's fault. But yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and get the shell removed, and we're gonna go ahead and try to install this bell. Okay, I've got all the screws removed, so now we're just gonna lift off the shell very carefully. Don't want to break any of the details of the back of the locomotive, so I'm gonna carefully lift the shell off. If I can get the back off, then we can get access to the locomotive. I don't know, hold on, there might be a screw still in place. I highly doubt it, but let's see. Is there a screw still in place? I don't think there is. Okay, one of the screws just came out. I'm gonna do this off camera. Okay, after a little bit of fiddling, I got that screw out. So now that screw is now out, and now we are ready for service. Now, one thing I'm gonna have to do is set this weight plate back in there and get it back in place with some fresh tape, because the weights keep coming off of the chassis, and we'll do that. I'll do that part off camera as well. But the part we really want is the shell itself. So the shell is to where we're gonna be mounting the smoke box on the shell, and I'm gonna take some look at some pictures of the real thing. I'm gonna look at how the smoke box is mounted, and I'm gonna also probably use a simulator to also try to find it as well. So I'm gonna try to figure that out real
Okay,
quick.
so we're here in Train Simulator 2021, and we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So this is a simulator which basically simulates the locomotive, but it also is fairly accurate in terms of the detailing. So this is the G-Trax GS4, the one that I just clicked on. This is the one of the daylight with the number boards and the Southern Pacific on the tender. Unlike the one that to the right, which is the one that is based off in real life, or at least the one that's still running right now. Now this is also number 4449 as well. Every one right here, every scheme you see right here is based off of every single scheme 4449 has ever ran in. Yes, including the War Baby Black. This is what it ran in when it was first restored in the Brooklyn Roundhouse in I think it was Washington or Oregon. Oregon, that's what it was. I forget what, and yeah, so the black one, the War Baby, is to what it looked like when it was restored for its testing before pulling the Freedom Train. So that's what it looked like beforehand. Anyway, the one we're basing off is the one that's right in front of us. So as you can see of where the bell is right there. And I'll just turn it on just so y'all can hear it. So yeah, basically the bell is right underneath the smoke box, and that is where we're going to try to put the bell on the model. So as you can see, it's right underneath it, right there. I'm gonna move the HUD out the way so you can get a better view. But yeah, you can see it's right there. So basically, we're gonna try to put the bell there and glue it in place. It looks like more like it's on the frame part of the locomotive, like on the chassis itself. So I might have to put it on the chassis. So we'll take some more measurements and looks at it, and we'll see how that goes. And depending on how that actually works, that's how we're gonna mount the bell. So let's get back and let's get into detailing. Let's get to putting this locomotive back together and getting it detailed. Also, I wanted to show you underneath it. You normally wouldn't be looking at this part of the locomotive anyway, but you can see the reverse gear. Now, obviously, this is an older model of the GS4 in Train Simulator. This is the G-Trax model. They haven't made a reskin or remastered version of it yet. Smokebox is working on my big boy, but I don't know if anyone's working on GS4 yet. But you can see where the reverse gear is. That is the reverse gear lever that goes into the cab for the locomotive to reverse. Also, another piece that we're going to be detailing is this part right here. This like thing between the trailing truck and the rear drive wheel. I don't know exactly what this does on the real thing. I imagine it's like the blowdown piece, but I don't think it is. I think it's the boiler blowdown, but I don't know for sure. So if you know what this is, let me know. I know a lot about the 4449, but not as much as I should. I know a lot, but I don't know every single thing. You know a lot of things, but it's okay to know a lot of things, but it's okay to not know what every single thing is or does. And this is one of the very few things on what I don't know it does on the 4449. This is one of the things I don't know. Yeah, if you know what this part is right here, let me know, and yeah. But I'm gonna be doing this in part 2 of the detailing for this locomotive. And like I said, part 1 is the bell and the reverse gear. Part 2 will be whatever this thing is, along with the decals. And speaking of the decals we will be doing is the number boards for 4449. So we will be putting 4449 in the number boards, x4449 in the number boards. And same for the back of the tender. We will be putting 4449 on the back of the tender, the gallon capacity, and also if microscale has enough decals, we'll also be putting the SP name right here, and the LT and the LD, the pounds right here, whatever. I don't know what this exactly states on the real thing, but we'll be putting this on there as well. And then I don't think that we're missing any more decals, but one of the functional things that we will also be doing is the introduction of the 4449's gyro light. So that will be done in the final part of this, or one of the third and final parts. And then we will be trying to attempt class lights. If I do class light, it'll only be for the side. I don't think I'll be able to do the front because of the way class lights are on this engine, because they're just pieces of plastic. So I don't think we'll be able to do the front, but we may be able to do sides with some fiber optics, so we'll see. And probably, last and finally, we'll probably be doing this conduit. I don't think you can see my mouse, but there's a conduit you can see on the front. We'll probably try to do that as well. But other than that, that's about it on the locomotive. On the fireman side, I don't think that there's too much missing, because on the fireman side, they've got that right. And the only thing really missing is just like that little piece between the rear drive wheel and the trailing truck. But other than that, it's perfect. Underneath the cab is fine on the model, and that's about it. So, nothing really too crazy. But yeah, the tender is pretty well captured, so I don't have to worry about that too much. But on the model, obviously there is no cab detail, so that's a sad thing. But that's not important because I'm going to be blocking out the cab anyway. So yeah. But anyway, let's get back into the model.
Okay, so now that I've showed you where the bell is and the details that we're going to be doing and how this build is going to be going, we're going to get started on the bell. So the bell's right here, this little piece. It's a brass bell, and like I said, it's supposed to be going underneath the smoke box. So one thing I do want to do before I begin putting the bell on, I want to just put the shell back on, but without the screws. And I want to see how that will go. And I probably might be able to put the bell on without having to put the screws back in, or without having to fully assemble. So we'll see. So I'll put the shell on just like that, right? And yeah, so with my screwdriver, if I can show you, there's some room right here, and there's room underneath there, where that's underneath the frame is. So we're gonna be gluing the bell there. I would like to just actually mount it, but there's not really an easy way of mounting it, so we're just gonna glue it on underneath the frame, and that shouldn't be too bad. And the bell should be visible. It'll be hard to see, but it will be visible to people looking close up at the locomotive. But it's all about the detailing, the small stuff that counts. So we're gonna move the headlight out the way, so that way we're gonna move the headlight out the way, so that way it doesn't tangle. So I'm just gonna put it like that. I'm just gonna leave it there, but I'm gonna try to not bother it. So what I like to do when I do these, or something I've learned, is to put the thing on the side like that, and then grab some tweezers, which I just misplaced my tweezers, but that's fine. But yeah, we're gonna grab some tweezers, and we're gonna hold the bell, and we're gonna place it there. So let me go grab my tweezers. All right, so I got my tweezers now. You can use unsprung or sprung. Sprung probably might work better, but in this demonstration, we're just gonna use some regular tweezers. And you don't need much of this glue either. You only need a tiny bit. And because like I said, I prefer to use a brush because it makes it easier for me to clean off anything. And when I take it out, you want to hit the sides so that way you can get all the excess glue that you don't need off. Because like I said, you don't need much, you only need a little bit. And so, we're going to take our tweezers. and hold the bell in place. And we're going to put a little bit of glue on the bell. Just a little bit. You don't need much, like I said. Put a little bit of glue on it, on the top. And now we're going to put the brush back inside the thing. And set it to the side and screw it on. Now, we're going to take the bell. We're going to pick it up. We're going to pick it up from the bottom with the bell. Okay, well, fiddly. And now we're going to take it. You can use your fingers too, but I don't recommend that either because it's glue. We're going to need to redo the glue. And it's a little bit like tricking and fiddling, but you can get it in there. So I'm going to do this part off camera, and I'll show you what the end result. After a little bit of fiddling, we got the bell in place. If I can zoom in a little bit, maybe shine some light in, you can see that the bell is now attached to the frame of the locomotive, and now it is ready for prepping. So now we're just gonna let it sit and dry, and we're gonna move away from that. And like I said, we're gonna let it sit and dry. I'm gonna put this to the side, zoom back out, and we're gonna put this to the side somewhere, like over here. Actually, over here, because I'm gonna put it over here, like on this side, where this side of my hand, because my heater's on and it's hot and it's cold, a little bit cold in this room. So now we take the shell and we look at this side, and we're gonna look inside of like this area right here of the shell. This part underneath the walkway is where the reverse gear is probably gonna mount. I don't think it's necessary to put this though, because like I said, since the streamline is not going to be seen too much, but it would still be cool to have it be there. But yeah, so we're gonna let the glue dry on the frame because I need the frame to actually do this. So I will get right back to you with it. Okay, so after some fiddling and some testing, the reverse, I'm not gonna be installing the reverse gear, unfortunately. For two reasons. Number one, as I said before in the video, since it's a streamlined engine, it's not going to be seen anyway. It's going to be underneath the shrouding. And if you're wondering what the shrouding is, it's basically this part compared to, say, a normal steam engine. I'll bring 2491 into the frame. If I can grab it. I forgot it's connected to its tender as usual. Compared to a normal steam engine, as you can see, let me put some light on to the frame. Yeah, compared to a normal steam engine, you can see the reverse gear is already shown compared to some of the air tanks and air reservoirs and some of the cylinder bulging. Compared to, say, on a streamlined engine, granted it's not attached to the shell, but that will cover all that up. So say if 2491 was streamlined, this would all be covered up and you would only see the drive wheels and the drive gear. And on some engines, you don't even see above the eccentric crank and the flying crank. You don't even see above that. Some steam engines, I know some even had the whole thing covered up. Now that was maintenance. Now those steam engines weren't really maintenance friendly, but they were very, very fast, and they were very nice looking because they all was covered up. But yeah. So the bell is mounted on the 4449's frame. So not really too much I can really do yet. But I hope you guys did enjoy it. So I will leave you with a couple run-bys with 4449. And also one thing I did do is, like, I don't know if I said that though. I shrunk the drawbar on 4449. So 4449 has a much shorter drawbar, so it's closer to Tinder and a more realistic gap. However, I have to run on the outer pin because that ends up binding on the side of the Tinder on one specific corner of my layout. So unfortunately, I can't do it on the outer pin, but it does look much better on the 30-inch radius layout, but I don't have that. So whenever I do get into a railroad club, and once this locomotive is done, 2491 is already done. It just has to get sound and maybe some more 2491. All I'm going to be doing with that is getting it sound and weathering. So after I do that, then the locomotive will be done. So hope you guys did enjoy. So let me go ahead and reassemble this thing, and I will see you next time. And I will leave you with a couple run-bys with 4449 and 2491 double heading. Have a nice day.
with